You're welcome back. We're sorry for the technical glitch there, but we're discussing issues as regards security matter, and you had mentioned of how we should be expecting the Council of States meeting very soon. And one interesting thing about the Council of States is that it brings together both past and present rulers and leaders of the nation in almost all kind of capacities. And one of the things, because if you read the news, if you're familiar with the news, you see a lot of them lately in the news speaking about things around insecurity. So I guess it is now time to use their knowledge and all of those, the knowledge that they're using to speak outside to actually make an impact in the country. And it's going to be very wonderful. I'm really expecting to see what comes out from that meeting. In case of insecurity, lately has skyrocketed. I mean, Kwara has been in the heat. The Middle Belt basically has been in so much insurgency. But although I would also mention that I traveled to Kano a while ago, and I traveled by road, and that was, I mean, before going by road, I actually thought of it like almost 100 times of whether not to go or not. But the roads were safe at least for when I traveled. But the point is that it means that there are actually progress, because there was a time when I remember this particular joke that someone asked how long is Lagos to Abuja, and then someone replied, he said um, 1 6 to a number of days. And the reason behind it was because at that time there was always case of kidnap around that route, and usually, so the point was that it all depends on how well or how fast or how rich your family members are to donate money for the ransom. And it's really lovely to see. So now let's move on to the next news where we see still in Nigeria, House of Representatives moved to regulate cryptocurrency and POS operation in Nigeria. The Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Abbas Tajuddin, has inaugurated an ad hoc committee to review the economic regulation and security implication of cryptocurrency adoption and point of sale POS operations in the country. The move comes amid rising concerns over fraud, cybercrime, and consumer exploitation in Nigeria's expanding digital finance ecosystem. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony in Abuja, Speaker Tajuddin said the committee was established to ensure Nigerians develop a safe and inclusive framework for digital finance. He acknowledged that while the nation's economy has shown resilience and potential for digital innovation, unregulated cryptocurrency use poses significant risk. Tajuddin warned that the opaque nature of virtual currencies could make them susceptible to terrorism, financing, money laundering, and other criminal activities. He stressed the need for clear legislation and consumer protection measures to guide the operation of virtual asset service providers, including cryptocurrency exchange. He emphasized that the committee will conduct public hearing and consult key stakeholders to develop a robust regulatory framework. This framework, he said, will guide both legislative action and the House oversight function on digital currency adoption in Nigeria. The Speaker reaffirmed that the commitment of the 10th House to protect citizens and national economy from potential financial and security threats while supporting the economic reforms of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. In his remarks, the committee chairman, Representative Olufemi Bamishile, described the assignment as a task of national importance. He noted that the committee would strike a balance between innovation and security, encouraging digital growth while safeguarding the financial system from fraud and abuse. Bamishile added that the committee would work closely with the Central Bank of Nigeria, Security and Exchange Commission, and the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, including other key institutions, stakeholders from the banking sector, fintech, civil society, and the Security Committee will also be engaged in the process. Development follows comments by the Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso, who recently called for a collaborative and pragmatic approach to regulating cryptocurrency in Nigeria. Cardoso said the CBN, alongside other financial regulators, is developing a sustainable framework to manage the growing impact of digital assets on the nation's economy. A very, very great one. I mean, over the years, we've seen so many things because one of the things about crypto is that it's an end-to-end encryption, meaning that there's no one in between that knows what goes on this end or that end. So basically, if usually if I'm to make a transfer via my bank app now, for example, I open my bank app, log into my bank app, I make the transaction. My bank sends an information to your own bank, and that's when you get alerts on your own end. But for cryptocurrency, it's not really like that. The only checks that are being done is to ensure that there's no one stealing from the ledger. So there's usually there's a ledger, an artificial ledger, that's usually all of these things are lodged inside. But whatever is in the ledger, you can't see it. But everyone has a copy of that. Do you understand? So yeah, I guess that's what they call blockchain technology and all of that. So it's a very interesting thing when it comes to crypto. It's a whole different kind of world. It's a whole different kind of financial system in crypto. And it's from the word cryptic, it is very cryptic in the real sense because you don't know what exactly goes on. And that's why some people have said that some terrorist group are having are getting finance from cryptocurrency and all of that. In fact, I guess there were some cases that kidnappers would ask for cryptocurrency as payments instead of, because you cannot track that. I mean, if it's bank, for example, obviously you can track that. If it's cash, there are also ways to track cash as well. So it is, when it comes to crypto, it becomes very, 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 it's almost impossible to be able to track it. And another rising issue that we're yet to even discover yet again is the issue of POS. POS fine, it makes things accessible for everyone. I mean, if I should ask you now, when last did you go to the ATM to withdraw money, you probably do not even remember exactly. And that is how it is for most people. But on the flip side, what happens is that it makes some kind of transaction very possible for criminals at the end of the day. Because if, for example, I have this bond, I mean, take for example when we're asked to, if you have so much cash, you have to return it to the bank and all of that. Something like that, if someone should steal some kind of money, probably 100 million now, for example, it doesn't have to go to the bank to deposit it in his bank account. What he just has to do is also look for several point of sale operators around the particular. In fact, the one very interesting thing about POS now is that in a particular on a street you can find up to 10. So meaning that this person does need about 10 or 15 streets, and then he's good, meaning that he has about 150 POS guys that would also help him to launder his money, and that's what they are trying to curb here. And again, there's also the issue of so much of cash outside the banking system. So when it comes to the financial sector, there's a lot that it really needs to be done.
Cashless society, so
we want that, like at this moment, I want that cashless society so bad because it's actually having its own ripple effect as well on our economy, and that's why we're seeing a lot of monetary frameworks, policies. I mean, the naira is bouncing back, in case you don't know, and that's because of all of these policies that are being put in place. So we want to see more policies like that will also help our GDP and also help our naira to gain that strength once again. I mean, the naira is, but I guess sometimes last week naira to $1 was about 1.3. So that's an improvement, and once more. I mean, I can probably tomorrow wake up and then it's 300.
It's 300.
Yes.
Okay, I think this move is very essential, but I'm seeing it from two different angles, and I feel like we are in a crossroad here. I don't know. There's something about innovation here, and there's something that stirs this fear, I think, in my mind, and also I feel like it's going to stir fear in the minds of people as well, because I mean, this regulation with cryptocurrency and POS, I feel like it is timely. This is what we push for, just like you've stated rightfully. But on another hand, okay, let me say it's necessary. Like I've said before, like I've emphasized before, it is necessary. But on another hand, if we look at it, I feel like it risks that, stifling that digital innovation we are trying to, closing that digital divide we are trying to, close. Because we know that a lot of Nigerians, are, inclined to the whole digital thing, and nobody forced us to it. Nobody pushed. Nobody taught. Let me even put it in the right way. Nobody educated anybody around it. Most Nigerians educated themselves towards crypto adoption, and I think we are in third place in the world, according to Chainalysis. We are third place in the world. And when I saw it, I was like, wow. So you mean over 22 million Nigerians trade in, crypto assets and hold crypto assets, and that is interesting, to see. And why I'm seeing it is that this is not just trend; it is the state of our economy rather pushing us to adopting these measures. The financial exclusion most of us are facing in the country. This is what is pushing us to, or pushing Nigerians to this. You can imagine inflation hit 33%, was it last month or earlier this month? And I was like, okay, that means Naira loses value by the day. In as much as we know exchange rate is becoming a little fair, but it's just by a few percentages, and it's like
It's one in
not everything.
It's not a few percentage.
It's kind okay. What will I say? But I just feel like people are looking for other alternatives to become financially
exactly.
And
strong.
that's
When we tell the stories of Nigerians and all of that, you say, oh, Nigerians are resilient, they are this and that. And that shows how much we are able to put in making money, actually, and also intentional efforts. I remember, I do have a friend who actually is so much into cryptocurrency and has made so much of his money from it as well. And when we discuss, he tells me some things about cryptocurrency, and I'm usually marveled. And so it taught it, not that he went to school to learn all of these things.
Yes.
So one of the things that we also be looking out for as well is having, maybe not like a school, for example, but having maybe a short course or things like that, so that people are more knowledgeable about these things to start with. And also, they should not just be, policymakers that would just make policies around all of these things, but they should meet with experts. They should understand what is crypto fraud, because there's something called crypto fraud.
Exactly.
So get an understanding of crypto fraud. They now look for policies that can help combat. We also have cyber security guys as well. Bring them on board on all of these things, so that it's not just. I do expect that that's what the committee does actually, so that it's going to, at the end of the day, we have a very robust set of laws that would guide us and also ensure that every Nigeria is safe at the end of the day. Because I really do not mind. The only reason why I have not kept so much of my money in cryptocurrency is because I don't understand that market is very volatile, and I really don't want. Exactly. I really don't want that kind of volatility in my money.
I don't want to risk it, and there's that fear. I don't want to miss out too. But
exactly.
Then at the end of the day, I think what's this direction. I think it's going to involve the CBN, SEC, and EFCC. I think it's the right way to go, because we've long misplaced our priorities when it comes to the digital world. We are that fear, most especially, has guided us all through the way. But this time, I'm seeing us going out of our way and approaching innovation with strategy rather than suspicion. And we saw that with what CBN did with the crypto blanket ban, I think in 2021, and all of those things. I feel like it drove activity underground. That's where I was coming to with the other side of the issue. If we don't handle this carefully, this kind of strategy, it might, it might bring that digital divide we are trying to, it might expand it, and we are trying to close it, but it might expand it at the end of the day. I know it drove people to, the shadows. Everybody went inside, and people went underground rather, not like it didn't exist. It existed, but people went underground with it. So I feel like this is very helpful, very important, especially with POS. There are so many layers of complexity when we talk about POS operation. It is good and it is bad, but we cannot drive these people away. I think they are the backbone of financial inclusion. I remember doing something around POS. I carried out a field survey and study, and I saw that, POS operators are like the lifeline in Nigeria. like you said, I cannot remember how many people go to ATMs, use ATMs again. I cannot remember
True,
how many people
no
go
doubt
to
they are the
banks again.
lifeline of,
But we just need
there's
proper
also
education
exactly
and understanding.
proper
So I think we
security.
should move to the last news rather, because we do not have a lot of time on our side. EU to introduce mandatory fingerprint